Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's session. I hope that you had a wonderful start of the new week. I hope that you had already had great classes and generally spent nice time today. I am glad to see all of you here. And today we are continuing uh, our online intensive course. And today we start week 3 of the course. So we are now in the second half of our program. So this week will be dedicated to assessment for learning in English classroom. And today we are going to talk about formative and summative assessment and also how to align assessment with your learning objectives. Okay, we are going to also explore some simple but effective assessment tools that you can use in your classes. But before we start with the sessions, let me also remind you that we use this course as an opportunity to not only learn from the speakers who are the participants of the C5+1 ED program, but also from each other, because we are all experienced educators. We have different experiences, different backgrounds, and it is really interesting to learn from each other. So that's why please be active. Use chat to share your ideas, to respond to the questions that we might ask you, and also to ask your own questions if you have any. Also, we are going to have group work today traditionally. So please try to be active during the group work too. Many of you are active all the classes, but still there are some people who are more like active listeners rather than speakers. And I hope that those listeners will take the speaker's position today as well and also actively share their ideas. Okay, so once again, welcome to the session, and let us start with Mahinahon Pulotova, who is going to talk about difference between formative and summative assessment. So, Mahinahon, hi, are you here? I saw you here a minute ago. Let me check participants. Just a second. Probably something happened with her connection. It happens sometimes. Technical issues are beyond our control. So that's okay. If Mahinahon has experienced some difficulties, I think that we can move her session to the second part of today's class. So if Hojasanam, you are here, we can start with you. Hojasanam?
Good evening, dear colleagues.
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes, thank you. So,
Yeah.
Hojasanam, it seems that Mahinahon is experiencing a technical problem. So we can start with your session, okay?
Yes, that's fine.
So let me introduce Hojasanam to all of you. Hojasanam Goib-Nazarova is an active participant of the C5+1 ED program, and she's going to talk about aligning assessment with learning objectives and simple assessment tools for everyday teaching. So, Hojasanam, can you please start sharing your screen?
So can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we
Okay, I
cannot.
try to share my presentation.
I can share it for you if you want.
Yes, it would be better because I think something goes wrong.
Just a second. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good. Over to you, Hoja Sanam.
Okay, and good evening, dear colleagues. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to see all of you. Let me briefly introduce myself. I am Hoja Sanam from Khoruk, Tajikistan. I am an English teacher with more than 3 years of experience in teaching sphere, and I'm also one of the participants of C5 plus 1 at program. So the C5 program played a crucial role in my life, and through this program, I gained valuable professional experience and discovered new opportunities, new methodologies, and improved my teaching skills. Of course, this amazing program had a great impact on my professional growth and as a teacher, and it boosted my confidence. Through this program, I met new like-minded people from different backgrounds, from different individuals, and I make friends worldwide. So today I'm going to share with you some experience, and yes, let's get started. Today's topic is aligning assessment with lesson objectives, simple assessment tools for everyday teaching. Okay, so have you ever thought like your assessment don't quite match with your teaching, like it is disconnect between what students learn and how you evaluate it? And today I'm going to share exactly how to align your assessment with your learning objectives, and it is way easier than you think. We are diving into practice strategies. I'm sure that on my top 3 alignment that they will boost classroom success instantly and make your assessment more meaningful and more effective. So, can you see my screen? Okay, here is
Yes. Yes, we can see.
yes, thank you so much. So here is a question for you. What is the, can you think about that question for a while? What is the difference between teacher and facilitator? Yes, you can write in the comment or you can unmute your voice. What is the question is that what is the difference between teacher and facilitator? Any volunteer?
Can I?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Hello, dear Hoja Sanam. It's nice to see you.
Yes.
I want to share my idea, the difference between teacher and facilitator. In my opinion, teacher is a person who gives knowledge directly to students, who explains the lessons, who controls the classroom. And facilitator, I think, who guides and supports students to discover knowledge themselves. And facilitator usually conduct student-centered lessons, and teachers sometimes conduct teacher-centered lessons.
Yes, thank you, Zinatmul. Thank you for your great answers, of course, and you are totally right. Here is also Dilnoza. Facilitator is a teacher who guides students instead of just lecturing. Yes, great idea. Also, Shaloi Sodiq Soda. Yes, of course. Yes, yes, Medina.
Hi dear all. Sorry for joining late. Difference between teacher and facilitator. Let me concentrate now. Now I joined. So in my opinion, facilitator is like a leader who who guided students and who is not only a teacher, who is not only teach, like um, facilitator guides, facilitator show the right way, something like that.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much. Also, Shaloi Sodiq Soda. Teaching mainly gives knowledge, explains the material, and controls the lesson. That's thank you. The facilitator, on the other hand, guides students, encourage them think. Yes, your thank you for your answers. Facilitate is someone who uses someone's experience and knowledge and guides people from point A to point B using this knowledge. Thank you so much for your answers. Of course, as you mentioned, yes, most teachers are so strict and they just teach the traditional way, just like read and translate and the old version. But teacher can be as facilitator as well. And if teacher change learning objective into a student-friendly language, it isn't just nice thing to do. It is just it's total game changer. And the facilitator can teach through facilitating and guiding and helping students. And when teachers act as facilitators, assessment becomes evidence of learning and not proof of teaching. So thank you very much. Next, please. Today's our objective is by the end of the workshop, participants will be able understand what it means to align assessment with lesson objectives, identify different types of classroom assessment, use simple practical assessment tools in daily English lesson, and design quick assessment that match languages. Okay, next, please. Today we will learn about assessment and learning objectives. Okay, here is I prepared for you a simple task. Here you can see the words and also in the other hand they are their definition. Can you look at the words and match the words with their definition? You can write your answers in the comment or you can say orally. Is it clear? Yes, can you match these words with their definition and you can write your answers? Yes, Farzona. One is A, specific. Yeah, one is E. Yes, yes, you are right. Specific, it means clear and detailed goal. Any other idea? What about Mahinahon 2 is B, measurable. The goal feels realistic and achievable. Yes, 2 is C. Yes, 2 is C, you are right. Because ensure measure to success, 5 is A. Time bound, set a deadline for completion. Medina Hassan Zawda. 4D, 3B, 2D. Dilnosa, Mary, 5 is A. Yes. Yes, thank you for your answers. Of course, here we have specific. It is clear and detailed, measurable. It is B, the goal feels. Any volunteer who want to read the words with their answers? Yes? Anyone who wants to read the words with their definition? Who can share your answers?
Yeah, can I? Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Specific, it's a clear and detailed goal. Is it right?
Yes.
And measurable is ensure you can measure success. Achievable, the goal feels realistic and achievable. Relevant, set a goal that is relevant to you. And time bound, it is set a deadline for completion. That's it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So I used here SMART strategies. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So through this activity, I showed you a simple assessment, one simple type of assessment, and with your students you can show first, if it is learning vocabulary, you can show them the words and the pictures. They learn it, they identify it, and then you can prepare for them this kind of task like matching. So I used here Miss Zuro. Can we go back? I used here SMART strategies because if our objective is specific, our assessment becomes easy and clear. For example, if our objective is, for example, your students will use past simple to describe about past events. So your assessment should be like your students will say or write 5 sentences in 5 correct sentences is in past simple. Measurable means accessible. Example, if students identify 8 new vocabulary, the assessment should be like 8 quiz with matching. And achievable, if the objective is realistic and the assessment will not be difficult. And relevant, the objective is should be about, if it is about speaking, assessment should be focused on speaking, not on grammar test. And of course, the last one we have here, time bound. If our objective says by the end of the lesson, student will be able to write, for example, 5 sentences, your assessment must happen during or at the end of the lesson. Next, please. And here is the question. As we are talking about assessment, here is a question for you. How confident are you in aligning assessment with lesson objectives? Can someone share your experience? So what is assessment for you? Any volunteer?
Can I say? Can I
Yes.
try? Okay.
Yes, of course.
I think that assessment is, for example, it can be during the class, during a lesson, for example, when you want to exercise and to see how the students understood the topic. So, and there would be a lot of different types of assessment, I think. Uh, uh, beginning with the beginning with maybe filling the uh, so gaps or till quizzes, maybe something. So assessment is the general, I think, term for the exercises, I think. Except, okay, there will be also assessment, for example, home assessment, like homework. And assessment, it's like time for students to understand how they got the topic. I think so. Or, yeah. And also, maybe here is the how confident are you in aligning assessments with objectives? So, assessments should have its objectives. Like, okay, I think that I'll be very happy when participants will share their ideas and I'll get some more information about it. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. I usually, Zuhro here, right? I usually start thinking about assessment right after I've set my objective. So the assessment is always connected to what I plan to achieve. Measure Jumagul here, measuring students' learning. Yes, you are totally right. It is our assessment, it is our goal, it is analyze, and it is how we qualify our teaching. Next, please. Miss Zuro. Okay, what does aligning assessment means? As today we will talk more about assessment and objectives. Uh, uh, here's the three main. I use three main points in my lesson. It is objectives, activities, and assessment. So objectives, what should students learn or identify learning goals. Activities, how students practice. And it is the main point however, students learn more through activity. And assessment, how we check our learning or design assessment. And all three are important. Yes, here is someone wrote, Charlot. In my experience, aligning assessment with lesson objectives helps students understand what they are expected to learn. When I plan a lesson, I first decide the objective and then I choose activities and assessment that match it. This makes the lesson more organized and helps me clearly see students' progress and difficulties. It also makes learning more meaningful for the students. Thank you very much for your great answers. Yes, next, please. And three main point of aligning assessment. As we already talked about objectives, activities, and assessment. Objectives, it is the main point of the lesson or action. Objectives should be clear and understandable. It is if it is abstract, we need more definition, like make it simple but by examples. Be more concrete. We need picture showing. We have to use words in proper way. For instance, if we teach vocabulary, using the words is more important than the meaning. So students should can use the words. So activities shows that how students practice and show their understanding. And for instance, when we teach adults, it is better to teach them through games, activities, and if we teach through rules, it becomes sometimes boring. But for students, it is better through activity. So thus they understand vocabulary or grammar, or it becomes more engaging and also fun. First of all, think about your students and choose the topic that relevant to your students' level and try to be creative on your classroom. And the last is assessment, or we can call it wrap up. There are many kinds of assessment, and they are for different levels. Like if we teach third or fourth grades, it is better to teach them or to assess them through games. And when we teach, for example, grammar, we can show them the word and the picture, and they can understand better. But for adults, we can create short quiz, test, words, picture, matching, self-assess, and check with partners. So if we create quiz, it shouldn't be so too much, but a short quiz helps them to understand, and also it is better for teachers. So next, please. Why assessment matters? Matters check if lesson objectives are achieved, understand student strength and learning gaps, adjust instruction in real time, support students' progress, not just give grades. And of course, the key idea is here, assessment should support learning, not interrupt it. So here is a question for you. What kind of assessment do you usually use in your classroom? How do you apply them? Can you can answer in a comment or in the chat, or you can say orally. What kind of assessment do you usually use in your classroom? Anyone?
Can I try?
Yes, Aziza. Thank you.
I think okay, you're welcome. So, for example, for me, when I so held my lesson, and this is for example, if I want to use an assessment or some, yes, something to know and find out how they got the topic and the way just I did want to know about the way they got the topic. So, I use dialogues, making dialogues. And this way, they change their experience. They know they got more information about themselves. So, and it helps them to, um, uh, to clarify the topic or, yeah, I think so. Dialogues, the best way. So I use dialogues, for example. Dialogues, yeah, for now.
Thank you.
So maybe, yeah.
Thank you. Jumagul, self-assessment is my favorite one, and peer check is normally used during my writing lessons. Thank you. Self-assessment, Mehri. Any other idea? Yes, Inatmo.
I usually use two kind of assessment, formative assessment and summative. Formative assessment, I use to check the understanding of my students. I use different quizzes like Kahoot, Quizless, and etc. But summative assessment, I use at the end of the course, at the end of the unit, or any semesters.
Thank you very much. As a Zuhro, as a formative assessment tools, I like 3-2-1 exceed ticket when at the end of the lesson learners have to write down 3 things they learned, 2 interesting facts, and 1 question they have about this topic. Yes, that's a great idea. I also use this kind of assessment. Dilnoza Sultanova. Always I use your formative assessment helps me give feedback and support student during learning. Yes, thank you very much for your great ideas. Next, please. Miss Zuhro. Yes, as Zinatmo mentioned about 2 kind of assessment, here are formative assessment and summative assessment. Formative assessment, it is exit tickets, quiz, peer feedback, observation, and questioning. And summative assessment, it is final test, exams, projects, presentations, end of unit tasks. So when we use formative assessments, these are the most powerful time for everyday teaching. But summative assessment, when we use them after learning and to evaluate overall achievement. So the students should know that it will affect, the summative assessment will affect their results, whether they pass the exam or not. It has a great impact on their final result. But the formative, it is for our daily teaching. It helps for our daily teaching. Next, please.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
What can you explain exit tickets? What is it? Oh yeah, make it clear. I guess I know, but I just want you to make it clear. What is it? Yes.
So we can ask after our, for example, after our activity, we can, or after at the end of our lesson, we can ask we can create 3 main questions like what should we learn, what is the one idea, for example, what the one idea you get from this activity, or one thing you take with you from this activity. And you can
Oh,
create this question by yourself as well.
I meant that
Or
that
did
first
they
one,
like
formative assessment. It's that one. Exit tickets. Yes. This not at the end of the class. I mean.
it helps, yes, formative assessment as it helps for your daily teaching. But in summative, it will happen in the end of the unit or
Okay. I thought that maybe they are cards like tickets. It's
this.
that's
The
it.
summative assessment have an effect or impact on their final result, whether they pass the exam or not.
Yeah,
But
understood. Yeah.
formative, it is for daily. It is powerful for everyday teaching. But
Yeah.
both of them are important as well.
Okay, thank you. I just meant
Next,
exit.
please.
Okay.
And here I have one task for you. Quick assessment design challenge. So you have about 5 minutes. Can you design a 3-5 minutes assessment that matches a specific skills objectives? As we talked about assessment and objectives. So here is an example. Our objective: students will use past tense verbs correctly. Yes, and here's assessment for it. Write 3 sentences about yesterday activities. So can you create? You can write in the chat, or yes, it is better to write in the chat. You can create your own objective with each assessment. You can use vocabulary, or you can use grammar, speaking, or is it clear?
Should we create breakout rooms for that, or everyone will be
I don't
working
think
individually?
they can. Yes, if it is possible, you can create breakout, but they can also, it is better individually because they can write in the chat their answers. They can choose a specific objectives and create assessment for it.
Okay.
For example, if our objective is students will use past tense verbs correctly, our assessment, write 3 sentences. Here we have example, and you can use this example for and create. If you have any question about it. Oh, Dilnoza. Always I use formative assessment, helps me give feedback and support student learning. So, dear colleagues, did you get the instruction?
Actually, it's me, Aziza. Actually, I didn't understand. What should I do? Oh,
For
uh-huh.
example, you have an objective, yes, at lesson. For example, our objective is students will use past tense verbs correctly. Yes, it is our objectives. And how do you assess this objective? I brought example. Write 3 sentences about past tense. If you can use, for example, vocabulary, students will identify, for example, 8 new words. How do you assess them?
Yeah,
Can
that's
you
clear
write
now.
your...
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I cannot use my chat. Why I have no idea
Yes, you
why.
can say orally. You can unmute your voice.
Okay. So let me think. So, um,
Can I?
Yes. No, Zinat Mo.
Okay, for checking my students' understanding, with the past simple, I want to use slap activity. I draw a chart and stick it somewhere with irregular verbs, and then I divide students into 2 groups, and I say the words in present, and they find the words from the chart in past simple.
Yes, great idea. Thank you, Zinat Mo. Shahlo, I usually use formative assessment in my classroom, such as short quizzes, oral question, pair work, and simple tasks. How I apply them during and at the end of the lesson to check students' understanding. This helps me see their progress and adjust my teaching if needed. Yes, thank you for great idea. Exit tickets are short activities that you conduct at the end of class to check student understanding. Students exit, leave the class only if they respond. Yes, that's also very great idea. If they don't respond, they can not go out of the classroom. Formative assessment is a tool for teachers to understand if the class was successful or something has to be repeated. Change it in the next classes. Yes. Dilnoza. Yesterday I had my lessons and checked my students' homework. We practiced grammar and had a short discussion in class. Is it right? Yes, discussion helps us to understand better where the students, their strengths and their weaknesses. Objective Farzona Vataneva. Fruit and vegetables assessment. Make a presentation about them in the paper. Yes, it is really, it's so good. As I also recently used this kind of objective assessment as our topic was fruit and it was about apple, and I also asked them to make presentation about apple and the students brought me the most beautiful presentation. Even they were on third grade. Ryan, objective students will use a descriptive vocabulary or describe clothes. Assessment, describe what the person to your right, left is wearing. Yes, of course, it helps, and they know what is right. And through this activity, also students will be able to learn about clothes. Thank you very much. Shahlo, objective. Students will correctly use 5 new vocabulary words in sentences. Assessment. Students write 3 short sentences using new vocabulary words from the lesson. Thank you. Bautaina. Objective. Students identify and use prepositions of place, in, on, under, next, behind. Yes. Jumagul. I will give them some verbs first. Next, help them to make past simple. Great idea. Assessment teacher shows an object and places it somewhere while students tell where the object is. Objective. Students identify and use the preposition of the place, in, on, under, next, or behind. Assessment teacher shows an objective and place is somewhere while students tell where the object is. Yes, great idea.
Can I share something?
Yes, yes, Aziza.
That's for example, if we use how can I say? So making story, for example, creating a story, for example, it is a group work when, for example, if there are 15 students in the class, so we start with one sentence from one student. She, for example, it's if this topic is past, so and he should make a sentence in the past tense, for example, or yesterday, what happened yesterday with him or with her, and then the next one should continue. And then
Yes.
something interesting, amazing happens when everyone adds their ideas, and at the end you see a whole story. And at the beginning it looks like simple, and then it becomes something great. Just it makes, I think it helps them to create something during the class. That's it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, it helps you. Also, it helps for their speaking, and I also use this kind of story making, and sometimes at the end it becomes so funny because they
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
sometimes it's
they they are so
from their
captured. They are
imagination. Yes.
captured by this process.
Once I
Yes.
did it and it becomes so funny. But in your case, they use the past tense and also they
Yes.
improve their speaking skills
Yeah.
and also
Thank you.
listening skills. Thank you for your active participation, and thank you that you are so active. So
Thank
next, please. Miss Zuro, do I have time still?
We have like 5 minutes left, so if we
Okay,
can, yeah.
I think I'm about finishing,
Mm-hmm.
and as uh, as also you talked about exit tickets, this is the main activity. Ask question. One. What is one idea or insight you learned in today's lesson? What confused you most? One question you still have. I use these exit tickets in my lessons, and it helps me whether the students learn well, or I can get them from these questions. I can get what they learned, or did they still confused, and it helps me to prepare for the next class. Next, please. Yes, here are some photos of my students. They are different levels. In first picture, you can see here it is sentences, and this kind of I do this activity like I divide it's in two groups, and for example, two students come, and the person who will do make the sentences correct and uh, finish it first, they can get some prizes as well. And you see, I also use like I give my students some prizes, stickers, and this kind of thing. The second picture is it's about vocabulary. Uh, it's like accent zero, and the people who get know more words, they become winner. It's also competitive, and in the third, it is also activity from my session. And yes, I use activities. I teach through activities, not just this traditional way. I try to be creative in my lesson, and students really enjoy the lesson through activity. Next, please. And finally, we are in conclusion. So, reframing learning objectives into friendly student language, it is a total game changer. Make your objective relevant, clear, and measurable, and something concrete. Make your task from theoretical into practical. And when students see a purpose by the end of the day, students can self-assess and they can say that I did it or I can do that. It's motivated, and here is the magic: when students can see the progress, they can put in more effort and they can understand why it matters. So the key is here: when students understand exactly what they're working toward, they know how to get there, and they feel like they can do it, and you know how effective and your teaching and students learning can be. So it means, for example, if our topic is about grammar, yes, present. For example, if our topic is present simple, don't just teach them the rules. You can ask them the task like send a letter to your friend or talk about their daily routine, and they see a purpose, and this becomes more realistic, and it helps students to learn better, and your lesson become more effective. Next. And the last question for you. So any volunteer who want to read this quote? Yes,
Can
Aziza
I?
today is so active.
Can I try somebody wants to
Yeah,
try to do that? Can I do? Okay.
yes, you
You
can.
don't have okay, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Yes, and thank you. How do you think how this quote can be related to early career teachers? As we are all early career teachers, how this quote can be related to us? Can you
So you
share
don't have
your
to
Yes, you
start to
can
be
share
great.
your
Yes, yeah. I think that every person, every teacher, no matter, for example, it's not about teachers, I think. It's general, it's common, yes. When you try something new, you face challenges, you fail it, you face difficulties. For example, you fail, and that's okay. When you accept this, you can go, you can grow, you can achieve something then. And you don't have to be great to start. So it's not so important, okay? The greatest thing is when you have and you are in the process of growing. And the result will be, I think. But you have to start to be great. And the goal is to be great, no matter, I don't know. Okay, so uh, you have to start to be great. Yes, when you start, the result will be somehow, and the greatness will come someday.
Yes,
Because when you try and when you try your best, something happens then. So you don't
yeah,
need to wait for a result. It will come itself. That's it. Thank you.
yes. Thank you. Any other idea? Anyone want to share? Yes, so we live in Zuhro. We live in the era of lifelong learning, and let us start doing and learn from what we do, learn from our challenges, improve our strategies, and share our findings. Dilnoza, when you start to do your job well, you can achieve your goal. Yes, you're right, Farzona. And taking the first step, overcoming fear of failure, accepting being a beginner. Thank you. Yes, of course. Never stop learning and always seek for opportunities. And one day you see you will become great. And also thanks to this course, it is a great opportunities for us as a teacher, and it started to connect teachers and sharing experience, ideas, and so yes, teacher will working together. We all about collaborating, sharing ideas, and if teachers share with each others and support one another, one day we become a strong professional community, and it is essential for our growth and this helps us expand opportunities. So thank you very much. Thank you for your active participation, and yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
to those who stayed till the end. I'm so glad because yes, as our time is
Our time is
Thank
limited,
you.
unfortunately, but I
Limited.
think that you did great. It was very informative. So thank you very much for that. So,
Thank you.
dear participants, I have sent the link for you to check in for today's session. Please quickly go through this link and mark your attendance. Hello, Shamsiya. Thank you, Hoja Sanam, for this session. And now let us move to the second part of our today's class. Mahinahon, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. So let me open your presentation on my phone. Give me a minute. Okay. First, let me join Zoom from my phone. Yes, and before we start, dear Mahinahon, this is a kind request, if possible, to stay within the time frames of the session, so that we don't take too much participants' time, but at the same time spend the time productively. Okay. So, dear participants, let us concentrate for another 40 seconds. But before we start the session, maybe you can have 1 minute just to stand up, stretch a little bit, shake your hands a little bit. So let's feel energized again. Let's do that and let's spend this productive evening together. So try to be engaged in the session and yes, use this opportunity to the fullest. We already touched on formative and summative assessment. Yes, Shamsia, you should click on the link. But right now, Mahinahon will explain the difference between these two in more details. And I hope that by the end of today's class, everyone will have clear understanding of what is formative and what is summative assessment, when to use which type of assessment, and also the importance of each type of assessment. So, dear Mahinahon, over to you.
Thank you very much. So hello, everyone. My name is Mainahon Fulotova, and it's my second year of teaching. And I'm also a participant of C5+1 Ed program. And this program gave me a huge opportunity to learn and gain a lot of useful knowledge, strategies, and methods about teaching English. So let's start with today's session. Today we are going to talk about difference between formative and summative assessment. And let's look at the objectives first. By the end of this session, you will be able to define formative and summative assessment in your own words, including the main purpose and timing of each. Distinguish at least three key differences between formative and summative assessment, and diagnose the main issue in at least one assessment scenario by identifying its current purpose, for learning or off learning, and one problem in how it is used. And so let's move on to the warm-up. Let's discuss a little bit. What word comes to your mind when you hear the word assessment? You can type in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and say what word comes to your mind when you hear the word assessment.
Hello. Assessment is a task, for example, something that.
Yes.
Yes.
Great
task.
idea.
Thank
One
you.
word is task. There are others. other words that come to your mind except that, yes, evaluate, you are right, great. Farzona, you are right. It's evaluate. Task, evaluate. What else? Maybe you when you hear the word assessment, you think of, yes, check, of marks or grades, observation, yes, check. Yes, you are right. Progress. Great idea, Ryan. How much students learn? Great learning. Praise, yes. These are all great ideas, and you're all right. Measuring progress of learning. Yeah, that's true. That also could be a feedback, yes. So let's move to another question. Can teaching happen without assessment? Why or why not? Can we teach without assessing our students?
Can I try? I think we cannot. Teachers
Why
cannot,
do you think so?
because otherwise they cannot so get the topic or something from the lesson. So they will go without nothing, just explanation of the teacher. They'll listen to it and that's it, without fixing it, just
Mhm.
just the
Yes, you're
just the
absolutely
lesson.
right. And it also will have a bad effect on teachers because teachers also will not have the purpose of the lesson. Like they won't assess, they will just teach and they won't
Yes,
put any marks. And students will
it
be
will,
discouraged because,
it's more like a lecture. That's it. Like teach
yes, yes,
something. It's not the teaching. Teaching is something with everything in it. So assessments, everything that uh, draw their attention and something that they are engaged in, and that thing. But just this is a lecture, just explanation of the topic, and that's it. Thank you.
yes, Aziza, thank you very much. You're absolutely right. And also, Jumagul wrote that I think no, because teachers should be aware of students' understanding and achieving goals of their job. And Jumagul, your idea is also correct. Teachers won't be able to measure progress of students in order to design the writing teaching materials. Yes, you're all right. Now, let's read the situation and answer the question. A teacher gives a test at the end of the unit. Many students fail. The teacher is surprised, but during the unit, she never checked understanding. So here's the question. Where did the teaching go wrong? No, because assessment helps the teacher see if students understand the lesson. Yeah, correct. Now let's think about this situation a little bit. Teacher gives a test at the end of the unit and many students fail. Teacher is surprised because she says that during the unit she never checked the understanding. And where did the teaching go wrong? Why did students fail?
Because she never checked understanding during the lesson. I
Yes,
think so.
correct. The teacher went wrong because the teacher did not check understanding during the unit. Yeah,
During the
correct.
process of the teaching, the teacher should have some, I don't know, breaks to check the
Mm-hmm,
students' understanding. So not the long lesson, just without the breaks. So short
mm-hmm.
breaks between
Yeah.
something. Yeah, and this way, I think that this is the point. I think. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Aziza. And your point is absolutely correct because teachers should check understanding of the students, even with a small test or with a small quiz or just with the CCQs. Uh, she should check understanding, and after that, she should give a test and evaluate students' knowledge. So Thank you very much. So let's move to the main topic. What is formative assessment? Formative assessment is assessment for learning. Formative assessment occurs during learning. Its purpose is not grading, it's improving learning while it's still happening. It's ongoing, low stakes, and focused on feedback rather than grades. So it means that it's assessment for learning, and it occurs during learning, and its purpose is not grading, it's improving learning while it's still happening. And its purpose is to monitor students' learning, to adapt future lessons, to address problem areas, and to identify students' strengths and weaknesses. So if we look at the previous situation, if teacher used one kind of formative assessment, she should avoid the failure of the whole classroom during the test. So let's move to the next slide. Yeah. And here are the examples of formative assessment. The first is exit ticket.
We cannot hear you
We
well.
mostly use exit tickets at the end of each lesson, and
I think that we lost Mainahon because of bad internet connection. And while she's reconnecting, let us look at this slide. So here you can see some examples of formative assessment, such as exit tickets that we have already talked about during Hoca Sanam session, right? Concept check questions, CCQs, polls, quick peer feedback, adaptive quizzes, mini whiteboard responses, thumbs up and thumbs down. So a couple of questions to all of you. Which formative assessment tool do you use most often in your classes? Anyone wants to respond to this question? Jumagul says that she uses non-verbal gestures in her classes. You mean these thumbs up and thumbs down, right? That is nice. That is very quick and very simple, but yet it's really nice and effective. I think that formative assessment shows that you also respect your students and you value their feelings, right? So when you ask them thumbs up or thumbs down about a specific topic, they feel that their opinion is counted. Okay, Shamsia also uses this technique. Dilnoza uses mini whiteboard responses. Dilnoza, if you could explain how specifically you use the mini whiteboard responses, that would be nice. Shahlo says 2-3. I'm not sure if I understand what is 2-3. So if Shahlo, you could also explain what do you mean by 2-3, that would be good. Okay, Dinoza, who is using mini whiteboards, she says that she also plays some games, matching activities, things like that. So yes, while Shahlo is explaining what is 2-3, let us move to the second question, which is why do you think students might feel safer making mistakes during formative assessment?
Can I try?
Yes, please, Aziza.
Why might students feel safer making mistakes during the formative stage? I think that because as we have at the previous session, the speaker said that formative assessments is the main part, yes, and it occurs at the start of the lesson usually. I think that making mistakes at the beginning is okay because they try to understand and they feel safe for now. And then at the end, when everything becomes clear, much clearer, and then they can just conclude everything they learned, and that time they feel confidence. If I'm not wrong, I don't know, maybe.
It's
So
not
I think
about
so.
being right or wrong. Just let me
Yes.
specify about formative assessment. It can be used at any stage of your lesson. You can use it in the beginning to check the mood of your students and to see if they are ready for this class, if they are prepared for the new topic, if they remember well the last topic. So it can be used in the beginning of this class. In this way. It can be used in the middle of your class when you finished explaining a new topic and you ask them, so now share 2 things that you remember about this topic, if talking generally, right? But you make it more specific. You can use it after an activity to check their mood again, to check their understanding, their comprehension, if we are going to use concept check questions. And it can be used at the end of your class if we are talking about exit ticket activities, right? So it's not specifically for the start of the lesson, but I do completely agree with Butaina, who says that students feel safer because it is not graded. And I think that this is a great point because grades put a lot of stress on students' shoulders, right? Because grades affect their final scores, grades affect those final school certificates, and then after that, they can even affect their graduation to some universities, entrance to some universities. So these grades put a lot of pressure to students' shoulders. And because formative assessment isn't graded, and summative assessment is often graded, formative feels more safe to them. They are more relaxed because they know that this doesn't affect their grades on these teachers' journals, right? It's just to make sure that they understand the topic. And also it's less formal. The title of the assessment is formative, but don't get confused with this title. It's less formal, it's more relaxed, and it's more like a feedback form of collection feedback from your group of students. Farzona also says formative assessment feels safe because students know it is part of learning, not final judgment. Yes, that's right. So, Mainahon, if you are back, you can continue with your session. We have discussed this slide, so we can go on to the next one if you are here. Okay, it seems that Mainahon is still experiencing some technical issues, so let me continue then. So we talked about formative assessment, which is a tool to collect feedback of how you are doing and your students are doing during the classes. Now about summative assessment. We already learned from Hojasanam's session that summative assessment is usually used at the end of the unit, term, and you assess how students understood this whole material for the unit. So the purpose of it is to evaluate students' learning by measuring it against some standards and putting some grades. Usually, when you are teaching in a public school, then the Ministry of Education provides these standards of what students have to know by the end of each grade. And you use summative assessment to see if your students meet these standards or not. Okay? Also, summative assessment informs grade, placement, and program evaluation, but offers limited opportunity for instructional correction. How do you understand instructional correction? Can anyone unmute or write in the chat what is instructional correction? This last phrase? What is instructional correction? So let me explain it to you this way. We use assessment not only to check on how our students are doing, but also how we as teachers are doing. And we use formative assessments regularly. Why? To adjust our teaching. And here by instructional correction, we mean changing something in the way we teach. Okay? Summative assessment is great to check if students are in the same in the same level which are determined by the state standards or not, but they do not really allow you to change your teaching instruction because they do not provide you feedback on how you teach, what has to be changed, what has to be removed, what has to be added, because it is at the end of the unit, it is at the end of the academic year, and it is mostly on the set of vocabulary, set of grammar rules, these kind of things. Okay? So I am not sure that we have to proceed with Mahinahon's presentation without her. So I probably will stop here after write this slide because it concludes the discussion of formative and summative assessment. Here, Mahinahon kindly prepared some examples of summative assessment for us, and she mentions quizzes,
Eva, I'm
manual
here.
exam.
Sorry.
You're back.
My
Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. My internet connection my internet just disconnected and the electricity was shut down, so I couldn't join. I tried several times, but thank you very much for conducting the session while my internet was off.
That's okay. That's completely okay. So if you are back, you can continue starting this slide.
Thank you very much. So here are the examples of summative assessment. Examples of summative assessment could be quizzes, final exams, essays or writing assignment, midterms, standard tests, or final projects. I'm sure that you already know that summative assessment are those kind of assessment that measure learning and achievement of students. So we use these kind of tools, I can say, as a summative assessment to check the progress of our students. So why can't we just rely on here is the questions, why can't we rely only on summative assessment? Even if it's the type of assessment that measures learning, can we only rely on summative assessment or not? You can type in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share your ideas. Or you can just answer that what kind of summative assessment you use most during your teaching, during your classes. It shows what students get at the end of the lesson. Yes, that's correct. Oh, thank you. As mentioned in the previous slide, because it doesn't provide enough info about what should be changed in our instruction teaching. Yes, correct. Midterm exams. Oh, Dilnoza Sultanova uses midterm exams more. At schools, we use mostly writing assignments like dictations or essays in order to understand students' level. Oh, yes. Yes, correct. You're right. We use midterms exams for to understand students' level. So as I said, at schools, teachers mostly use writing assignment like dictations or essays, and sometimes students feel confused and stressed and anxious before the upcoming tests. Rely only on summative assessment because maybe different students have different levels, and some students might be good at writing assignments, but others might be better at speaking. So we can't rely on only on summative assessment. Yes, Miss Suhra. Formative assessment can help us see where to put more effort so that at the end of the semester our students are better prepared for the summative assessment. You are completely right. Your idea is correct. Formative assessment help us to prepare our students for the upcoming tests or exams, because summative assessment shows the result but doesn't support Jumagul. You are also correct. Great idea. Yeah, we are right. It shows results, but that it doesn't support students. That's true. That's correct. So let's move on to the next slide. Here are the difference between formative and summative and the similarity between both two types of assessment. There are both ways to assess. The questioning strategies need to be addressed. Both need to be used to evaluate a student effectively. Both can be used for student feedback, and they both assist in future lesson planning. We already talked about types of formative assessment and types of summative assessment, and now here is the similarity between of these two types of assessment. They are ways of assessing, and they evaluate students effectively, and they can be used for students feedback, and they can assist in future lesson planning. So let's move to the next slide. Here are the aspect formative assessment and summative assessment. Main purpose of formative assessment is improve ongoing learning for learning, and summative assessment is judge final achievement of learning. Timing, formative assessment is during instructions and it's frequent, but summative assessment is used at the end of unit, term, or course. And stakes, formative assessment is low stakes, often ungraded, but summative assessment is high stakes and it's graded. And feedback, formative assessment gives immediate, detailed, and actionable feedback, but summative assessment gives limited after the fact. And the last one, flexibility. Formative assessment is informal, adaptive, but summative assessment is more formal and standardized. So it means that here are the differences between the formative and summative assessment, and you can clearly see all the uh, things that these two types of assessment do and how they are different. Even though they are types of assessment, they are different from each other. So let's move to the next slide. So here are the questions for reflection. Why can't we rely? Oh, we already said this question. Sorry. Which type of assessment has more impact on learning and why? Can you please share your ideas or write in the chat which type of assessment has more impact on learning and why? Oh, someone is writing in the chat to understand students' level. To understand students' level, what do you mean by it? Or you can think about one assessment that you used recently and say, was it formative or summative? How do you know? Oh, you're writing in the chat feedback maybe? Feedback is to understand students' level, right? Ms. Dura said that I think formative assessment because it has more impact on immediate learning, let's say, and it happens more often. Yes, you're absolutely right. Formative assessment because it is happens within the learning process. Yes, that's true. So, as you said, formative assessment has more impact on learning because you already mentioned, yes, it helps students grow, it supports them, happens often, uh, and it happens within the learning process. It's immediate learning, great ideas. You are all correct. Now let's think about one assessment you used recently. Was it formative or summative, and how do you know about it? Uh-huh. Formative assessment is most powerful type for everyday learning. Sanam, you are right. Yes, great idea. But summative assessment also impacts learning because this is our final goal, and from it we understand our standing point and our final destination. Yes, summative assessment is also important because, as you mentioned, it's our final goal and our final destination. But without formative assessment, without checking students' learning, and without supporting them, reaching to our destination might be a, a little bit difficult, both for teacher and students. So let's think about one assessment you used recently. Was it summative or formative, and how do you know what type of assessment was it? I recently used TOEFL mock test, which was a form of summative assessment. Wow, TOEFL mock test. Yes, it's a form of summative assessment. For example, I recently used mm, formative. Jumagul wrote in the chat that formative assessment impact is more because it brings you to the final one, which supports you to be ready for the last one. Yes, Jumagul, you're right. That's correct. This kind of reflection is formative assessment. Mhm. So maybe we should move to the next slide.
Next slide isn't loading, but I believe it was thank you slide.
Yeah. I use both type of assessment, but summative assessment I use once in a month, like test quiz. Sanam, I also use both type of assessment, and yes, you're right that by using summative assessment once in a month.
Thank you, Mainahon, for the great presentation and that you could make it despite all technical difficulties. And thank you, dear participants, for your active participation. My Nahon has also prepared a group work activity for you, but because of time limits, we are not able to conduct this activity. So I'm going to use it as a makeup task for those who have missed today's webinar but want to have it counted for their certificates. So, dear participants, once again, thank you very much for staying until the end of today's session. I really appreciate all of you as dedicated English language instructors, and I hope that all this effort, all this investment that you put into your professional development will pay off in the future in the form of great career opportunities, great colleagues, great friends, great teacher, students, great parents of students. So I believe that everything we do affects what happens to us in the future. And you being here is a great sign of you designing a prosperous future for yourself. So thank you for that. And I wish all of you to have a great week, productive, interesting, and surprising. And I hope to see all of you again on Saturday at 2 p.m. And thanks to our today's speakers. Goodbye, everyone.